Hi and welcome to another IDAM in 2 minutes or less. So we've talked about the differences between cloud and on-premise. We've talked about automating services in order to make IT admins' life easier. We can also do the same thing for all of your users. And the way that we can do that is by helping them to speed up and improve the way that they log into services. And we do that by offering a service called SSO, Single Sign-On. Some of the platforms you'll be using will automatically or natively have single sign-on enabled. Certainly in the Microsoft cloud, once you've logged into Office 365, you can normally skip into other areas of the Microsoft cloud without having to re-authenticate. But you're probably not just using the Microsoft cloud. You may well be using services in AWS, you may well be using payroll or finance or other services that are hosted by other organizations. So without SSO, your users will need to then approach those platforms. They'll need to authenticate with their account details in order to gain access. This has got a couple of drawbacks. One thing, it takes time. So your users are obviously spending time recalling their account details, entering those account details and waiting to authenticate. In addition to that, human beings are not very good at generating or remembering complex passwords. So what tends to happen is that users either default to one generic password that they use for everything, which is a bit of a security risk if it ever gets compromised, or if they know that they shouldn't be using one single password to rule them all, they'll probably have a list of some description with all the different usernames and passwords on. That might be in a manual book or it might be stored in a phone. The problem is if they want to access it anywhere that's not a secure location, and this could be in your own office areas. They're all open plan these days and there are lots of people walking around, visitors, contractors, as well as employees, some of whom may be disgruntled. You've got to make sure that those details don't get into the wrong hands. So anything we can do to stop people having to keep a list of passwords is really useful. And that's where single sign-on comes in. We can use our IDAM system to provide single sign-on functionality even for platforms that don't support it. And the way we do that is we get the IDAM to actually do the authentication process for us with the platform. This means that the users don't have to keep going around fishing for their credentials. It means actually we can shield the user from their cloud platform credentials as another form of security. So they never actually know what the username and password is for Sage or for Salesforce. Just one way of making sure they can never bypass the service to access those platforms. The other thing is we'll save them time. On average, if a user's using 5 different platforms, we reckon there's about 60 seconds a day of login and authentication activity that we can save by using SSO. So if we can save 60 seconds per day per employee over a 220 odd day working year, that's 220 minutes. Which is quite significant. Scale that out over the number of employees in your organisation. That's a lot of time that we've probably saved you, and it's a lot of productive time that we've probably given back to your employees. Another great way that a good IDAM solution can save you money. Join us next time for another IDAM in 2 minutes or less.